birthday to other sport is action from every part of the globe, and we are always at the thick of things. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your number one football update right here on Overt Radio on the Tuesday Tales and Tales and Time right here on Tuesday, ready to give you all the exciting in the world of sport today, in the world of football rather, today. Now let's go straight to what we have for you on the program. This sport update, and we're going to be talking about all things Nigeria, the game between Nigeria and Lesotho. We're going to be talking about players that have arrived camp and players that still expected to be in camp. And we're also going to talk about some NPFL games and NPFL results, and of course we'll round it up with some other interesting stories coming in from the under 20 World Cup going on, and of course we'll give you updates right there from in the program. Now let's go straight to what we have for you today. An exciting young defender, Benjamin Frederick, is the latest player to arrive in Polokwane, South Africa, ahead of the Super Eagles Group C 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Lesotho and Benin Republic. Now, Frederick's arrival was confirmed by the Super Eagles media officer, Promise Foge, and this means the number of players now in camp for the double-header encounters is 18, and the 17 other players already in camp are Captain Trust Ekong, Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, Chris Santos Uche, Wilfred Ndidi, Bruno Onyemechi, Tere Murphy, and Moses Simon. Others are Calvin Bassi, Alex Iwobi, Samuel Chukwueze, Frank Onyeka, Tolu Arokodare rather, Shemi Ajayi, and Stanley Nwabali. We also have Adebayo Adelaye and Amas Obasoje. Meanwhile, the Super Eagles held their first training session today at 6 p.m. today, and the Super Eagles will be guests to Lesotho on Friday, October 10, before hosting Benin Republic on Tuesday, October 14 in Uyo. With just 2 games remaining in the qualifiers, the Super Eagles are third on 11 points, 3 points behind Benin Republic and South Africa, who are first and second respectively. Now, what's your take concerning that and the players in camp and those 2 games on the 10th and the 14th of October? Of course, you can join the conversation right here on Overt Radio, and you can just drop your comment on Overt Radio on Instagram at Overt News, on Facebook, Overt News, on X, Overt News NG, on TikTok, Overt News TV, on YouTube at Overt Radio, and of course, you can also call the phone line 0708-723-3165, 0707-063-3159. And of course, let's get to talk about Nigeria's chances in these final 2 games coming up for the World Cup qualifiers. Don't forget that, of course, it's a marathon, and Nigeria had chances upon chances upon chances to correct all the wrongs they did in previous games. And of course, would this be the final chance, or this is just a game they lost right from the moment they didn't take their chance? And of course, those are the ones who hope, and we just hope. But for me, if you ask me personally, I'll tell you that Nigeria don't deserve to be in the World Cup. We do not deserve to be in the World Cup. How can you play games and you have draws, no wins, just number of draws? And look at the teams, the quality of teams you're playing with: Lesotho, Zimbabwe, Benin Republic, South Africa. These are no powerhouses in football. There's nothing no one can tell me about that. There are no powerhouses in football, especially in Africa. Who was their pedigree? Lesotho, Zimbabwe, Rwanda. What's their pedigree? And Nigeria are playing draws upon draws upon draws. They can't even win in their home games. Oh, what a country. All right, now let's go straight to the under 17 and let's check out the update coming in from the under 17 Argentina versus Nigeria. Of course, that game will be holding on, and of course, let's go through the FIFA Under 20 World Cup after a shaky start to their 2025 FIFA Under 20 World Cup campaign in Chile, losing 1-0 to Norway. Nigeria's Flying Eagles managed to qualify for the round of 16, going through as one of the third best placed teams. Qualification was achieved thanks to their hard-fought 1-1 draw with Colombia in their first Group F fixture. However, things doesn't get much easier for Nigeria, as they will now face the most successful team in the history of the FIFA Men's Under 20 World Cup, Argentina. 6 titles they have, and in the first knockout round on Wednesday. Of course, that will be tomorrow. Now, this will be the 14th time the Flying Eagles will face a team from South America rather, at the FIFA Under 20 World Cup. Unfortunately, it has not been favorable for the Flying Eagles in the past meetings with South African oppositions at the competition, as they have managed just 1 win, 2 draws, and have suffered 10 defeats in the previous 13 encounters. Ahead of Wednesday clash, here are the results of the Flying Eagles against South African opponents at the Under 20 World Cup as compared. And of course, I'm gonna give you that. Of course, the first win. Let me try and give you some. The first win loss for Nigeria came in 1983, where they played Brazil. In that one, in 1983 FIFA Under 20 World Cup in Mexico. In Mexico was the first time the Flying Eagles will feature at the tournament. Now, the team was drawn in the same group with Brazil, Netherlands, and USSR. That's now Russia. And of course, after a 1-0 win against Russia in their opening match, the Flying Eagles were hammered 3-0 by Brazil in their second fixture. Now, in the must-win clash with the Netherlands, the team could only manage a 0-0 draw, which was not enough to see them progress to the quarterfinals. Now, Brazil also defeated Nigeria in 1985 semi-finals. The Flying Eagles had a better outing at the 1985 edition in Russia, as they finished third, emerging from a group that had Canada 2-0, Russia, and Australia. Now, the Flying Eagles edged out Mexico, or you can call them Mexico, in the quarterfinals. Their impressive run was, however, ended in the semi-final following a 2-0 loss to Brazil. In the third-placed match with Russia, the Flying Eagles won 3-1 on penalties after extra time ended goalless. In 1987, Brazil won 4-0 against Nigeria. In that one, the Flying Eagles squad went to the 1987 edition with high expectation, with not a few tipping them to go all the way and even winning the tournament for the first time. But it was not to be, as the team began their campaign on a disastrous note, losing 4-0 to Brazil in that one. They never recovered from the heavy defeat, as they drew 2-2 with Canada in their second match before falling 2-0 to Italy and crashed out of the group stage in that one. What about in 1999? Paraguay defeated Nigeria 2-1. And of course, after missing the 1991, 1993, 1995, and 1997 editions, the Flying Eagles returned in the FIFA Under 20 World Cup when Nigeria hosted the tournament in 1999. The Flying Eagles faced Costa Rica in the opening match and settled for a 1-1 draw before defeating Germany through 2-0 or 2-0 in their next tie. But in their final group match, the Flying Eagles lost 2-1 to Paraguay, but still managed to scale through to the second round of 16. And a penalty shootout win against the Republic of Ireland, 1-1 draw in regulation and extra time, so the Flying Eagles faced Mali in the quarterfinals, which unfortunately ended a 3-1 defeat. And Nigeria 0, Brazil 0 as a 2005 group stage. The 2005 edition of the Under 20 World Cup in the Netherlands saw the Flying Eagles open their campaign against Brazil. Unlike the previous clashes, the Flying Eagles held Brazil to a 0 or a nil-nil draw, marking the first time they will avoid defeat against the South African side at the Under 20 World Cup. After the draw with Brazil, the Flying Eagles lost 2-1 to South Korea, but beat Swaziland, or Switzerland rather. Swaziland is another country in Africa. Switzerland 3-0 in their final group game to advance to the round of 16. Argentina 2, Nigeria 1. That final was heartbreaking. I remember that. I remember watching or seeing that game, that final between Argentina and Nigeria in 2005. Despite a brilliant run all the way to the final, the Flying Eagles lost 2-1 to Argentina in the 2005 tournament. Two well-taken penalties by Lionel Messi secured the win for the South Americans. And of course, in 2007, under the tutelage of Ladan Boso, the Flying Eagles finished second in a group that had Costa Rica, Scotland, and Japan. I think that was the era where Ahmed Musa was born. In that one, under the tutelage of Ladan Boso, the Flying Eagles finished second in a group, and in the round of 16 saw them come up against African opposition Zambia, which the Flying Eagles won 2-1. But their journey was ended by Chile, who hammered them 4-0 in the quarterfinals. Venezuela won Nigeria 0 following the exploit at the 2005 edition. Samson Siasa returned as Flying Eagles coach for the 2009 tournament in Egypt. But the team began the competition on a losing note, going down to Venezuela 1-0 with midfielder Ronald Lookman sent off. The second match saw Spain ended 2-0, but a 5-0 win against Tahiti helped the Flying Eagles reach the round of 16 as one of the best third-place teams. But the Flying Eagles were eliminated by Germany 3-2, who triumphed despite playing with 10 men. Let's go on this quick break to catch my breath, and then on this quick musical break, and of course we should be taking a